Hail, and welcome to Shadow of Space. And we are commenting on another BCP video. This one is called Woke Socialist Mayor Freaks Out Then Runs Away from Reporter After Confronted with Surprise Question. This was uploaded May 1st. This is being recorded May 4th. May 4th. And link is in the description. Sorry, it's a Star Wars day today.
Gunfire in Seattle at the same location where Mayor Katie Wilson was holding an event.
Oh, that's why that. Okay. They've been showing commercials for The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I guess that makes sense why now, because it's a Star Wars day.
Community Center. Mayor Wilson had just held an event in a different area of the same property and was still at the community center when the shooting happened. Our photographer heard the gunshots and estimates the mayor was about 50 yards from where the bullet struck. But the two areas are separated by a hill and the building.
Canceled
Seattle
today.
Police say they received a report of multiple people shooting near the community center and no injuries were reported. Witnesses told police the suspects left the area in an unidentified vehicle.
I missed something.
We begin tonight with gunfire in Seattle at the same location where Mayor Katie Wilson was holding an event. Take a look. Our photographer found bullet holes in a door of the Yesler Community Center. Mayor Wilson had just held an event in a different area of the same property and was still at the community center when the shooting happened. Our photographer
I thought it was at her house. Not sure why.
Estimates the mayor was about 50 yards from where the bullet struck, but the two areas are separated by a hill and the building. Seattle police say they received a report
and so you make the link that they were there to kill the mayor. You are saying because the mayor was there, the killer was there to kill the mayor. Granted, I haven't seen any of the information after this, but is that the reason that they did it?
Multiple people shooting.
Were they there for something else?
And no injuries were reported. Witnesses told police the suspects left the area in an unidentified vehicle. Mayor Wilson released a statement that reads in part, quote, "Shortly following my announcement of new investments in Seattle's children and families today, we heard gunfire. No one was injured, but it was a stark reminder of reality."
Is this to this new investment in Seattle's children and families, is this a response to those Trump accounts that are supposed to be like savings accounts for kids?
It's
kind of embarrassing. See, again, they want to be him. Donald Trump talked about no tax on tips, and then what was, like, within a few weeks, what was one of Kamala Harris's campaign platform promises? Oh, I'm gonna no tax on tips.
We cannot let this become.
If you hated him, you wouldn't do the things he was doing.
Normal.
You wouldn't want to copy him.
We must invest in opportunity, and we must continue working to keep people safe.
Sorry, I missed this whole thing, so I'll just read it. Shortly following my announcement of new investments in Seattle's children and families today, we heard gunfire. No one was injured, but it was a stark reminder of a reality too many people in the city live with every day. We cannot let this become normal. We must invest in opportunity, and we must continue working to keep people safe. You know, it's funny that you say this, because people say that people are happy with the fact that that gunman tried to run into the ballroom and killed Trump. So again, we have another example of that was acceptable. That was a completely tolerable example of violence. But this is not.
The shots were fired shortly after the mayor delivered remarks on a voter-approved levy that she's putting into action.
Boy. So we got to talk about woke, soft on crime. Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson.
Oh, so not Trump accounts, but really just more fees and taxes.
On a shooting that happened outside of her event just a few days ago. And she's going to run away from this interview. Her assistant is going to cut the interview short because this interviewer...
Well, that's what she did basically the last time when people asked her about Starbucks leaving. And she said, you know, that isn't what we're here to do, so I'm not going to talk about it. And she basically just avoided the question. And she did end up answering it, but I feel like she answered it in a really vague way that didn't really, like, say anything. I don't exactly
Is
remember
going
what she
to
said,
ask some
I'm going to
tough
be
questions
honest.
about her soft on crime policies. Like, for example, she is supporting a policy that will stop the rollout of surveillance systems designed to stop crime.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson is hitting the pause button on the city's CCTV cameras. The mayor announced today she's halting the growth of the pilot program, a project launched under the Harrell administration last spring as part of the Real-Time Crime Center. While existing cameras will remain active, at least one near reproductive and gender-affirming care clinic is being powered down immediately. She's also halting the use of automatic license plate readers. Fox 13's Alejandro Guzman has more on what this all means.
Well, because it's probably because it's a way that ICE can monitor the streets and check people's license plates to know if they are documented citizens or undocumented migrants. So they probably are turning it off so that they don't have to cooperate with ICE to protect the undocumented migrants. If I had to guess.
It's one of the only places that's getting 24 new surveillance cameras that are going to be installed this spring, but they're not going to be turned on unless there's a real threat. The decision comes from Mayor Katie Wilson, who is now hitting pause on expanding.
Well, but that's too late. Because you would need the cameras to know that there was a threat so that you could know to turn on the cameras.
Surveillance cameras across the rest of the city.
I am pausing expansion of this pilot until we have completed a privacy and data governance audit and taken significant steps to strengthen our policies.
Right now, 62 police CCTV cameras are installed along Aurora Avenue, downtown, and the Chinatown International.
See, what does that mean? To strengthen our policies. What does that mean?
District, but expanding the cameras to new neighborhoods is now on hold as Mayor Katie Wilson acknowledged this is a deeply divided issue.
It's important to base a decision on more than feelings. It's important to ground our actions in a thorough understanding of how the cameras are being used, of the public benefits they are providing, and of any harm they are causing or could cause.
Like to people who shouldn't be in this country? For a particular agency that can't be named, to be able to identify these people in order to detain them and then extradite them come from the country?
The one exception, the Stadium District, ahead of the World Cup.
However, they will not be turned on and will not be connected to the RTCC unless we are aware of a credible threat that warrants such action. And they will be turned off once that threat subsides.
Even, as she says, cameras can
Is it
help.
too expensive?
I haven't seen any evidence that they deter or prevent crime, right? They're helpful in solving it.
The mayor is also halting the use of automatic.
Yeah, because that's how our justice system works. You have to commit a crime in order to be held accountable for your crimes. The police don't prevent crimes. You, like Smokey the Bear, says that you are the only person who can prevent forest fires, okay? You are the only person who can prevent crime. Crime happens because you go out and commit it. If you don't want crime to happen, you have to make the decision to go out and not do it.
License plate readers, or ALPRs, while the city reviews the soon-to-be signed Senate Bill 6002 that passed last week. It outlines the rules for these systems and how long video can be stored. During the press conference,
it's why it's so frustrating that Democrats sit there when they engage in the same rhetoric that Republicans do, and yet they sit there and they point the finger and they say they have to do it first.
said Wilson has Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes' support.
Do you want to live in a society where there's like cameras on every corner, right? I think that's a very legitimate question.
The audit is expected to take a few months, so until then, the expansion of surveillance cameras citywide will be on hold. In Seattle, I'm Alejandro Guzman.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are people doing on the streets that you wouldn't want cameras watching you.
Yeah. So the woke mayor here says, hey, I don't think that cameras are helpful, right? I don't think that expanding CCTV to help solve crime or to prevent crime, I don't think that's a real thing, right? In fact, she
Well,
probably thinks that.
see, no, she wants it to prevent crime, not solve crime. Cameras do not prevent crime. They solve crime. They can tell you, you know, they can document where a person came from. You know, if I go to shoot up a gas station, not only can you have camera footage of my route away from the scene, but you even have footage of my route to the scene.
The surveillance system is racist, right? Is racism
It
a
helps
bigotry?
solve crimes. It does not help to deter or stop crimes from happening. But arguably, the law and police don't stop crimes from happening. There are laws against, I mean, right? Donald Trump engaged in the fraud that he got sued for before he got sued for it. So he already committed the crime. He was sued after he committed the crime. If you've seen the movie Minority Report, that is actual crime prevention. That is actually stopping crime. That is seeing a crime before it's going to happen, and then stopping the person before he even has a chance to engage in the criminal behavior. That would be a way that you actually stop crime. Is to never have the action occur. You say that it's people that's hungry. Okay, so you go to the store, you buy like a week's worth of groceries, and you give it to the guy. That would be stopping crime. You can't know that unless you know that he's hungry enough to commit a crime, and then intervene in the moment before he commits the crime.
Because of that, she decided that, hey, we're going to pause rolling this out.
You'd have to be
Specifically in the ones
clairvoyant
around
and know what was going to happen
gender-affirming,
beforehand.
care clinics, right?
And then
Yeah,
do
we're not gonna
something
allow
that was going to alleviate it so that it didn't happen.
anything to be recorded around there, right? So she's going to get confronted in the wake of the shooting that happened near an event that she was holding. She's going to get confronted by this reporter on some of her soft on crime policies, and she's literally going to quit the interview, right? She's going to have her handler come over and basically stop the interview because he's asking her an uncomfortable question about policies that she supports and the consequences. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
I wouldn't be an excellent reporter if I didn't ask you. It's been an eventful week, and I think people are concerned about you. How do you feel after Tuesday, after what happened, what transpired?
I'm doing great. You know, got a great team supporting me, and I'll just say, you know, we don't have any indication that that shooting was targeted or anything like that. So I think it's a reminder of how much work we have to do as a city on gun violence. But I'm doing fine.
And the last question would be related to that. That you know, I talked to people in that neighborhood who said that. Hold on.
See, but I don't believe you when, again, Charlie Kirk getting shot in the throat is celebrated. That is celebrating gun crime. You cannot sit here and tell me that you are against gun crime, but then celebrate someone getting murdered with a gun. Like,
one last question.
One of these things isn't right.
There's been rising gun violence.
Two things can be right at once. Not these two things. Only one of these things can be right.
Does that change it? Does that change your perspective at all?
Let's keep it on. Yeah, let's keep it on.
Water can be cold. Water can be wet. Water can be cold and wet. If water is cold and wet, it cannot be hot and dry at the same time.
Does that change your perspective at all on the issue of surveillance cameras based on what you went through on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Appreciate it, but let's keep it on topic, okay?
She's about to answer the question, though.
I missed the question. Hold on.
It's been an eventful week, and I think people are concerned about you. How do you feel after Tuesday, after what happened?
She was talking about the shooting.
I'm
She's
doing
fine.
any indication that work we have to do as
It wasn't targeted.
on gun violence,
Which is what I said.
I'm doing fine.
And the last question would be related to that. I talked to people in that neighborhood who said that, hold on, it's just one last question. People in that community who are concerned that there's been rising gun violence and that there should be more surveillance cameras and that kind of thing. That's obviously been an issue that you weighed in on. Does that change it? Does that change your perspective at all?
Let's keep it on. Yeah, let's keep it on the topic of this event. Thanks.
But does that change your perspective at all?
That's exactly the excuse that she used last time with that other guy who was talking about I immediately lost the train of thought. The guy who was talking to her about the Starbucks making that new HQ in Nashville. That's the exact same pivot that she used was, well, that's not on topic, so I'm not going to answer it. Like, of course it's on topic. How is it not on topic? He asked you if you were okay about the shooting, and then he said that people in the area, because of the shooting, and because of other shootings that are happening, feel like the cameras should still be in place. It's about the shooting. It's all about the shooting. The first one was about you in the shooting. The second one is about the cameras in the shooting. Why is the one inappropriate to talk about, and why is the other one inappropriate to talk about? And I literally had to sit here. I didn't have to, I guess, but I did. I read a whole bunch of comments on this one thing, and they had quoted this quote. It was, oh, you're going to put me on the spot. Oh, hold on. Okay. Hold on. So I want to get the quote right. If you want to know who controls you, look at who you are not allowed to criticize. This is a woman who you are not allowed to criticize. By that logic, she controls you. And this is not a Republican. This is a Democrat.
On the issue of surveillance cameras.
But at the same time, of course the government controls you. The government controls your food stamps. The government controls your housing programs. The government controls all of this stuff. Like, are you stupid? I'm sorry, maybe that's harsh, but like, come on. The poor people don't control those programs. I can guarantee you that.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, but let's keep it on topic, okay?
She's about to answer the question, though.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. I mean, it looks worse.
And there are plenty of Democrats who that's their tactic when they get confronted with questions that they don't like, is they just walk away.
Jump in like that.
I'm sorry, I specifically said to keep it on topic today, okay?
But I also have to ask the questions that people want to have answered.
Maybe we can set up a different time for that.
But the mayor's a busy person.
I understand. Maybe we can set up with Sage sometime.
We'll talk to Sage.
Well, Sage hasn't returned phone calls all week, so.
It's been a busy week, but I will definitely get with Sage. Yeah.
We're just trying to keep it in the scope and respect the event itself. If that makes sense.
Well, you can respect what I'm doing.
Your job is to ask questions. It's our job to ask questions.
That is literally what CNN or NBC, one of those liberal, all of the liberal journalists say, is that is literally the job of it, which I don't say. That is not the job of a journalist. They say all the time that the job of a journalist is to hold powerful people accountable. This is a powerful woman that he is trying to hold to account.
We need to keep it within the constraints of the event itself.
And at this point, they are literally just trying to get him out of here. They're done with him, they're done with his questions, and they just want him to leave. Oh, well, you can get in touch with our person who schedules things, and they'll reschedule something for you. So, there's no reason for you to be here, so just move along, peasant.
We got it figured out. Thanks, Chris. Okay.
So it's bad for Trump to do it, but she can do it, and this is fine.
Talk to Andrew.
I already did. Wow. We got 4 minutes, so good.
Okay.
So you already heard the question. I'll just repeat it. You obviously went through a traumatic event on Tuesday night. I talked to a lot of people in that neighborhood who suggest that, hey, that's the reason why we need more surveillance cameras in the city of Seattle.
What is
This
he?
an
What
issue
is?
that
What
you've
are they
weighed in
even
on
at?
before. Does your perspective change at all based on what you went through Tuesday night?
Not really. I mean, I believe that CCTV cameras have an important role to play in our public safety system, and we also have to be very careful to make sure that our data storage, security, sharing practices don't make that system vulnerable to misuse and abuse, whether that's by federal immigration enforcement or by other bad actors.
What did I say? At the beginning of the video, I called it. She is worried that ICE is going to use it to target undocumented migrants. I knew it. I knew it.
And so for that reason, that is why we are doing a data and privacy audit before we move forward with expanding CCTV surveillance.
So that they can make sure that those cameras are not being used
So what
by
just happened
people
there,
who
right?
shouldn't
What
be
just
able
happened?
to use it.
She got hit with a question that she was not prepared to answer. And her handler came in and ended the interview, even though I do believe that the topic of CCTV cameras in crime is a very relevant topic.
So I guess I went on that rant, but then she did answer the question. She did end up answering the question.
Is a question that the mayor should answer, right? Regardless of whether or not she's expecting the question. But yeah, her handler came through and pulled her out of the interview, right? Because she wasn't prepared to answer the question, right? So this was her prepared answer. This is her prepared answer because she knows that just flat out saying that she doesn't support the expansion of the surveillance system looks bad, which she doesn't, right? She doesn't. And her excuse for being soft on crime
no.
is,
I don't know. At this point, if ICE wasn't detaining people and going on this mass deportation crusade across the country, would she be canceling this expansion of the CCTV program? Or would she just be allowing it to continue? Would this audit be happening if ICE wasn't doing what it was doing?
Well, see, we don't want to allow Trump to take advantage of it to deport illegal immigrants, right? Again, it's always racism, hate, and bigotry. That's what they use to excuse the unexcusable, right?
Do you notice that, granted it was a clip, did you notice in the clip that she didn't actually mention ICE using it in that press conference? She only talked about it here in this interview, specifically.
So you have residents who are asking questions about crime. They're saying, hey, we have questions about this policy that the mayor supports and whether or not this is actually the direction that we should be headed in. The reporter asked this question to the mayor, and the mayor runs away because she wasn't prepared. And then the prepared answer that she gives is also not great. It's not great. But this is socialist leadership, right? This is socialist leadership. This is Democrat leadership. This woman is a great example of exactly what you're going to get if you let Democrats run this country. Because let's be real. Who's actually running the Democrat Party? These individuals.
And you know,
right?
it's one where, despite the fact that she did answer this question, she is still the mayor. She has powers. She still controls programs. Even if it's only on a citywide level, she still controls. She controls. Mamdani controls. That's the point of government.
the archetype of this woman, right, Katie
They're
Wilson.
they're supposed to be protectors. Well, part of protecting is control.
Democrat Party, right? That's the Democrat Party. Seriously, the liberal white woman, right? The far left woke white woman. Yeah, this is the real face of the Democrat Party. Doesn't matter who you vote for, right? The person pulling all the strings is gonna look like this, right? I'm so serious. So, with that being said, we're gonna see what happens out in Seattle. They're already losing Starbucks. You have a ton of people moving out. Capital is leaving because of this woman's leadership. I think that New York and Seattle are gonna be case studies, right? That we can go back and we can look at and say, yeah, this is the consequences of voting for socialists, right? This is the consequences of tax the rich. This is the consequences of being soft on crime. It's the same thing over and over and over again. But hey, in order to red pill a leftist, you got to give them what they want. Sometimes you just got to give these people what they want. That's it. That's the only way that they learn that what they want is actually not good for them. But hey, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Well, I mean, this is as bad as the Middle East again, where just she got up there and she said that she didn't say that it was because of ICE, but that's basically the reason is because of ICE. Like, why is it that when she's here alone, she can say it, but when she's there with her handler, she can't? I don't...
Subscribe, most importantly.
What made this conversation more candid than the other one, other than she wasn't surrounded by her friends? Like... I don't know. What was this? Because, I mean, at that point, it isn't actually her fault. At this point, it's that other guy who stepped in and was like, whoa, you're done. You're not asking any more questions. Who cut her off. She didn't run away. I guess I don't really understand what it is that actually ended the interview. I don't know what he said or what she said that set that guy off to be like, maybe you shouldn't answer that. Something you should have to answer, when she has an answer for it. She could have just said what she wanted to say, which was, I don't think that the CCTV cameras really prevent crime the way that it was pitched to me that they would. Even though that's not the reason. Like, she could have just stuck with the talking points. But for some reason, she just decided not to. Her and the other guy decided that it was crossing some sort of line. I don't know. Because I was watching the modern day debates with Brian Shapiro and Rachel Wilson's wife, and he did this same thing where he started off his conclusion where he had this heartfelt story about him losing some members of his family and Rachel losing members of her family, but then used that as a launching point to make his point. He literally used emotional tugging at your heartstrings. He used an emotional anecdote to try to land his point. Like, I feel like that's exactly what this reporter did, where he started with the tragedy. Oh my goodness, it's so horrible that you were shot at. Are you okay? Well, I understand that you might be a little like shaken up from that or whatever, but people are criticizing for you for this, and what do you have to say about it? I mean, just to me, it's the same thing. Like, I'm gonna pitch it with the emotional sting, And then I'm going to use that as a launching point to try to get to my actual question. To me, that's I guess that's kind of manipulative, I suppose. I don't know. Because then I don't know how much she actually ran away when she basically continued that interview and she answered the question here. So, I mean, like she did for like 20 minutes and then she immediately finished the interview. The guy obviously didn't leave. He didn't take no for an answer. So I guess he did his journalistic duty, which was to hold the people in power accountable, but I don't know why she declined the question in the first place. That really is what doesn't make any sense to me. When she was perfectly fine answering it here, and she doesn't seem hesitant or reserved or like it's a big deal. I don't get it.